Shalom. I'm Rabbi Nathan Davidovich, speaking to you on behalf of the webyeshiva.org, speaking to you from Efrat, Israel. I'm going to speak about a little bit about the Torah reading this week that we read here in Israel, which is Parsha Chukat. It's a parsha that talks about a very strange commandment, the red heifer and the use of the red heifer in purification process for somebody who's come in contact with a dead person. And what I want to talk about today, the subject of what I'm talking about is which is the preferred method of performing commandments? By intellect, by understanding the commandments, or simply by Emunah, faith in God. And it's interesting that when we look at intellect, we often, we think of ourselves as rational human beings, and we like to think that before we do something, we understand the reason for it. This week's Parsha in Israel follows last week's Parsha Korach, which is a Parsha read outside of Israel. Korach had a rebellion. Part of Korach's problem was that he tried to use his intellect to justify his rebellion. For example, he asked, he in a mocking way, but he asked Moses his view of the commandment of tzitzis. It says you should wear fringes and wear a blue thread to show your fear of God. If you have a completely blue garment, it shouldn't be necessary to wear the tzitzis. That was one question he asked. The other question he asked, we had the commandment of mezuzah, putting the mezuzah on your doorpost, which contains a scroll of the Torah. He says if you have a house full of Torah books, Sifrei Torah, why would you need a mezuzah? He's trying to rationalize the meaning of the commandments. In this week's Parsha, Chukas, the law of the red heifer is stated without any reason for it. And the Kedushas Levi says that what it teaches us, the fact that it says this is Zos Chukas Torah, this is the statute of the Torah, teaches us that we have to look at everything that the Torah commands us as a chok. What is a chok? There's a difference between a chok and a mishpat in the Torah. A chok is where the Torah tells us to do something without any reasonable explanation, such as, prime example, this red heifer. No reasonable explanation. And the Kedush Levi says it teaches us, since it doesn't say Zot Chukas HaPorah, this is the statute of the red heifer, but rather Zos Chukas HaTorah teaches us that every commandment should be treated as a chok, should be treated as something that we do not because of a rational understanding of it, but because God commanded it. Now there's a debate about people who have observed the commandments out of intellect and out of just Emunah, Pashut Emunah, faith in God. The Dubna Magid brings the contrast between Shlomo HaMelech, King Solomon, and David HaMelech. Shlomo HaMelech, King Solomon, stumbled because he was looking for the meaning of things. And Shlomo HaMelech looked at the commandments which said a king should not have too many horses or too many wives. Lo yarba la susim, lo yarba la nashim. And he thought, well, the reason that those commandments are given must be he shouldn't have many wives because they're going to influence you badly. You shouldn't have many horses because you might return to Egypt. He says, I can withstand all those things. I'm not worried about having these things. So they really don't. For me, it's not important because I'm not going to stumble in that. And of course, he did stumble in that, and that's in comparison with King David. King David, in Tillim in Kuf Yud Tet, he says two things. Tov tam v'das lamdeni. He says, teach me good reasoning and knowledge, for I believe in your commandments. That's the second thing he said. But the first thing he said is, Ashrei tamimi derech haholchim b'Torah Hashem. He first said, be praised are those who walk in the Torah wholeheartedly with God, without looking for any reasons. But then he seems to contradict himself by what I just read at first, that it is good to know the reason. Teach me the reasons of the mitzvahs. So the Dov Namagid makes a comparison between three different people. He says three different people are sick, and they go to a doctor, and the doctor tells them, take this medicine and you'll be healed. So the simple Jew who doesn't have any quest for finding out the reason, believes in the doctor, and he does what the doctor says, takes the medicine, and he's healed. The second one says, I just can't believe what the doctor is saying, so I'm going to do a Google search, search the internet, find out what the real answer is, and I'm only going to do what the doctor says if I believe it applies to me. The third, and he, of course, unfortunately didn't do what the doctor said, and his end wasn't good. The third one, the Dov Namagid said, is somebody who listens to what the doctor says, and he tries to understand the reasoning, but nonetheless follows what the doctor said. And he said that's the difference between Shlomo HaMelech, King Solomon, and David HaMelech. King Solomon stumbled by trying to find the meaning of the commandment, feeling it didn't apply to him. Whereas King David first said, you have to first do the commandment. As we said when we received the Torah, Naseh, we will do the commandments, V'nishma, and then we'll learn about them. And the second part of what he said, he says, now that I've done the command, I would like to know more about it, study about the commandment. And that's the difference. And this is a very important message for us today, that we cannot look at a command and say, oh, this doesn't apply to me for whatever reason. Don't look at the laws of kashrut, of keeping kosher, by saying, oh, that's just a health thing. Definitely it's not a health thing. The Torah itself says, I'm commanding you these things not to eat non-kosher food because you're a holy people. You're holy to me. This is the way to get holiness. So the way to do mitzvahs, the preferred way to do mitzvahs, is to look at every commandment as a chok, as a method of showing our Emunah in God. We're doing a commandment not out of a rational reason, but because God commanded it, because of our Emunah. And if we start doing commandments only out of rational reasons, unfortunately, as you can see in society's reasons for doing various things and mores for doing things change over the years markedly. And the Torah is a guidepost for all time. Therefore, we should all be careful to do the mitzvos for the sake of doing the mitzvahs because God commanded them. We want to do what God commands and not try to fit it into our method of reasoning or not. To do it and review it as a chok. Thank you for listening on behalf of the webyeshiva.org. I wish everybody a wonderful Shabbat and wish us all to have the ability to perform God's mitzvos without looking for reasons to do them.